Break it down, my rail breakers.
Yo, what's up, guys? What is happening today? It is Wednesday. You know what time it is? It is feedback day. Let's get this shit rolling. Oh, nice. I love when it does that. Sweet, sweet. Alrighty, hope you guys are doing good today. Been pretty somber. A lot of overcast where I am. So, also, there's apparently a tornado outbreak yesterday in the south. Um, and I guess that's why it's so rainy and shit. But, um, yeah, fun stuff. Also, really foggy. It was really foggy this morning. Let's get started. First up, we have Shafra. Shafra is a paid member. You guys go first. Thank you, Shafra. Alrighty. Shafra, are you ready to get annihilated? Also, Shafra is one of the people that sent in their project for me to look at. And I actually went through his project on stream in the Patreon and pointed out everything that I didn't like, and I changed it and tried to make it better. And I sent it back to him. So if you want me to do that to your project, join as a sub in Patreon and send me your project. I'll make it sound super awesome. Yeah, let's go. Shafra, the war. Yeah, see, Shafra loved it. Look up all the plugins and everything. Or, right.
The war.
Yeah, that sounded pretty cool. It says lagging. Oh my gosh. It says I dropped some frames, but it wasn't that much. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can hear me, then just say yes. Can. Yeah, okay. There's not much wrong with this, I don't think. It was a pretty clean mix. It's just like there should be more stuff. This is a lot of like Sultan, Apache feeling. Right here, everything feels pretty crisp. Build up is a little bit messy. You have a lot of like just instruments playing here, and you have like a low end. If it was me, I would like the instruments you have, like the. I don't even know what. I'm not gonna pretend what what am I saying? I don't know what instrument that is, but I would just start high passing like the melodic instruments. Like everything else sounds good, it just needs to be high passed a little bit.
The war.
And that buildup is really good, but this drop is really underwhelming. It just needs some space filled out, really. Just adding more layers and stuff to the drop. It can be anything like base layers, like a Wompst or something. Usually a really good one is to add Womps. Or, I mean, you could also reference like Sultan, like I said earlier. We could just bring up another tab. What does Sultan do? Sultan. So some of those background layers, it's like bells, it has white noise. Yeah, background stuff, like layers, background things to fill space. Like he has a crazy background thing going on. Like it's just like bells, but like reverbed or slowed or something. This one is just like noise again, just noise playing. There's like some background ring mod thing. It's like a sustain, weird sustain thing. I'm just playing the same thing. I like that one a lot. You hear the backgrounds in there, it's just more like high pitch sawtooth thing going on. This one just has a bunch of like symbol decorations, like embellishments. Also, simply adding reverb to your bass can go pretty far. Or doing reverb throws. I think it's like the actual term now that everybody's using, reverb throws, where you automate the reverb tail of something and it just kind of fades out. Also, your lead here, I think it might be a bit busy. Like, there should be moments where the phrase ends and then you can like fill that space with a filled bass of some sort. The lead is kind of always playing. It doesn't need to always play. Just make it play where it sounds the best. Like it's definitely parts in this lead where you're like, I don't know about this part, or something else could fit here and make it better. I mean, just also simple layering to that lead. It feels like it's one layer. You could add like a orchestral instrument, like some mid strings or something, some violins. I mean, you're going for like this Arabic feel. Find out what instruments are used in Arabic songs, like sitars or something. Just adding more layers. Really, that's all I'm really saying is just adding layers and trying to give you ideas on how to fill space. Mix is good. I would keep the mix kind of where it is right now. Also, the crazy thing is, you, Shafra, did you see that your things had fade-ins? Did you see that? All of your samples, every single one had some fade-ins. Did you know that was happening to your track? I want to know if you knew that, because it really was just like an insane thing. Rainio, it would be in my Patreon. There should be a link in the description. Yeah, look up. Yeah, it's an auto fade. Look up how to disable that thing, because that got me when I first got Ableton, and I didn't realize why my drum sounded so shit and why like my cymbals and everything was shit. But yeah, turn it off. I don't know why they have that as a setting in Ableton. It's fucking crazy. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, I think it sounds better here. Like your drums sound more transient and poppy and sound good. Also, I mean, those are probably my drums. I think those are my drums, right? The kick, honestly, you could probably just get like a thumpier kick, just one that has mostly low end. You could just low pass this kick you have here, or just like, I don't know, distort it, something. It became default in 10 or 11. That's so dumb. Yeah, I really don't have much to say about this. I'll put in phrasing as a notes if you want to just see. Because like you could make the drop kind of have a better motif, so it's like not just the lead playing the entire drop. Yeah, good shit, Chafra. Thank you for submitting. I think it sounds better because you kind of watched the project breakdown I did, which it sounds really good. This is like one of your cleanest mixes. It's not like the best one you've done, just because like it's not as full, but it sounds super clean and I like it. That's the direction you should be going, is a more clean sound, and you can hear all the instruments really well. Everything fits really just good. It just can hear all the instruments independently. Woo! All right, yeah, thank you for submitting. Moving on. We've got Impale. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip. It's kind of like my instinct when I see a waveform that fades in like that. What the fuck? Okay. Is that the Elite from Halo? I love this intro. what the hell are you on? It hits so good. And ear candy. Oh, the ear candy. Oh, it's like really apparent here. Just like all the little grains left and right in my ear. Sounds fucking sick. It sounds like a good neuro bass, and it's hard to get like a bass sound like that, but also not distorted. So it sounds fucking great.
3, 2, 1. Draw.
Excuse me. Fuck. Okay, this build up snare. It's like it sounds like a dubstep snare. I would just change the snare to something else that kind of fits the vibe you're going for. I don't think you have a single like actual snare in this entire song, so why is it just there? Just make it something else. Another thing is the rim shot here is just kind of harsh. You have I generally like snares like this, but those pingy layers can get really annoying, and you're trying to balance making them stand out and like impactful, but also keeping it from being too harsh, which I'm sure you're aware of. I would just say layer it with like a rim shot, like a actual drum rim shot, high pass it or something to make it kind of blend in with that feel, and just turn the pinging layer down just a tiny bit. Or you could get like an EQ and just run the parts that are more annoying if you don't want to turn it down that much. But layering would be probably the best move here. And you can adjust the transient and whatnot with the rim shot. Just it needs some kind of body to it to make it stick out in the mix more, but not like ruin the entire tone of it. Or lay with like a clap or something, maybe that could work too. Who knows? Or like a snap would probably work good too. Damn, yeah, a snap. Try a snap, like a finger snap kind of sound. A really short snap. Yeah, good shit. Damn, I don't have much to say about the last two ones. Jeez, guys, get a hold of yourselves. I thank you, Impaled, for submitting. Good shit. Onto Vexa. Vexa, what is up? You are next on the chopping block. It's just okay. Hold the fucking phone, bro. It's like the drop instantly. Okay, hold on. Fucking SoundCloud. Okay, let's play it again. Okay. Okay, I like the bass. I like the bass, but I started not liking it the longer it played. It sounds really crunchy and thick, but I think it's starting to lose its tonality a little bit. I talk about this kind of frequently now because it's just become so popular. When you have a bass that is just it's all low end and high end, and there's no like mid information. Um, it starts to lose its identity, and it just becomes like noise at that point. And you need the mids to have some kind of character that is identifiable. Otherwise, you're gonna just be another noise base kind of sound. Like it's harder to distinguish between like a sine wave and a and noise distorted together. You know, um, the actual tone does, or the actual like bass sounds good. It sounds nice and crunchy. It feels good in my ears, but it needs that kind of distinct tone in the middle, like in the mids somewhere, just so like I can know what's going on. It can be simple. I mean, you have the rack for this bass. It could just literally be as simple as adding a sine wave in your layers and just pitching it around or something. So that way you have like some mid stuff going on. Then that'd be cool because then you have control over like a melody. You could change the decay so it kind of has a cooler groove or something. You could change a lot of things about that. You could change what harmonics are present. You could pan those even. I mean, goodness, you could do some. You could do a lot with just like one layer. Um, yeah. Also, a really dry mix. And the other thing I was gonna say is it's really dry, so I'm not a fan of the drums. I said the snare in the notes, but it's kind of just become the drums overall. The kick is just kind of like a distorted. It sounds like it's all in the mids. Like I don't hear any of the lows at all. It's just because it sounds so distorted. If you were to just mute the bass and I were to hear the master, the kick would sound like a square wave. I guarantee that. It could be a mastering problem, but it also just straight up might be the type of kick you're using. And for the snare fundamental has too long of a too long of a decay. Um, and so it just sounds like a big doof. Uh, and those snares aren't bad inherently, but when it's distorted like this, it's just kind of annoying to me. It's also very noisy too. A very noisy snare. There's not a lot of dynamics in this song. It just feels like everything's being clipped to shit again. But it's all like being like hard clipped too. It's at least consistent, so everything sounds like it belongs together and it's kind of glued. So it's not too terrible. I would just change the drums. The rhythm too is just simply kind of generic sounding. But I mean, like I said before, if you add a layer, that adds a bunch of complexity to it. Then the rhythm doesn't have to be a problem. You could have a really cool layer that is super dynamic and like tells some kind of story with its melody, and then you wouldn't need to worry about the rhythm at all because the melody's doing all the talking. Like that's another thing why I was saying adding a layer adds a lot of character to your sound. If you have a lot of character in your sound, you don't have to worry about making it so complex because everything else around it is super complex and has a bunch of intrinsic weirdness and character. Um, yeah, nonetheless, I mean, good sound design, good shit. It's just those notes, really. Um, but yeah, thank you for submitting. I think those are all the things I can say. Let's move on to the next one. All right, we've got Kaisel. What is up, Kaisel? Yes, girthy guns. What's up, Angela? Angel Ava? Why did I have such a hard time talking? Damn, bro. That was great. Yeah, I didn't write a note about this intro. The intro, it needs more progression. Something like just a layer underneath something. It could be like a lower Reese or just like any instrument really. Just a bass guitar maybe. Anything you want. But it needs a sense of progression, like the song is moving forward and it's building up to something. Because it is, but it's not conveyed. You convey it a little bit with reverb, but this is pretty lazy. You're just automating the dry wet up into the next section. I think you could do this way more artistically. Just make it seem not so boring. It could be like you just turn it on and off. You can make it seem glitchy or something. You could use a convolver. Who knows? This piano section is kind of just weird. We have a piano and choir. It just doesn't fit the vibe. Like you have a very industrial feeling in this, like very raw sounding, inorganic. But then this section just sounds really organic. If you're gonna have these instruments in here, they need to be blended a lot more, and that means filtering them. It would sound better if it sounded like an old radio recording or something, making it glitchy, metallic, or just you could just change the instrument to something else. Pianos and choirs don't really go together that well unless you're doing like an orchestral piece, which this isn't really orchestral. It just seems really weird and odd. You don't have a piano and a choir playing at the same time that much. Your kick, I do not like your kick. It's mixed pretty poorly. It just sounds like it's really fucking loud and it's just clipping to shit. To mask over its bad mixing. Mm. It just feels like a wrong kick too. I feel like a more thumpy kick, like a trap kick, would sound better. You do want to stick out, which is kind of your problem because you do have a pretty intense mix. But it could be something like white noise you could layer over it, or like a hi-hat layered over it, something like that, like an industrial metallic hi-hat. But you want this to be more like a thumpy feeling more than it being distorted, because the rest of your sounds are really clean and not that distorted. Like this bass is not that distorted. The sub is the most distorted thing in here, and it's a very subtle saturation. So you're just gonna thump your kick. Honestly, thump your kick. It could be a stadium kick too, something that has some reverb to it. It feels like it's recorded in like an actual drum room, like like an overhead mic. Yeah, like that overhead mic sound, studio recording feel. I said snare, but it's really a rim. The rim is just way too harsh. It sounds like it's just plainly too loud too. Like it could just be turned down and sound better, but experiment with it. It's just kind of your more of a artistic choice for you to decide how to fix it. But the problem is that it is too harsh, and just find a way that make it sound nice and clean. It has that power, but it's not hurting my ears, because it is hurting my ears right now. I think it sounds good. This drop section sounds great. Great sound design. Everything else seems pretty fine. Okay, the metal section. Okay, mixing with metal is a lot different than you would think. And it is quite hard coming from EDM, because your brain is so used to mixing EDM the EDM way. Metal music is all about really transients. The drums don't stick out as much as you think they do. The cymbals are not as loud as you think they are. But you want to emphasize those transients the most part, and the drums are actually pretty quiet. So just get a transient shaper. Don't do that much EQing to it. Leave it pretty raw. Just boost the transient on both kick and snare. You want to sound more like poppy, like it's popping your ear, than like an actual snare tone you would usually know. And also use references too. Reference some other metal. Doesn't have to be exactly the same style of mixing. I mean, you're still making an EDM song at the end of the day, or hardstyle, I guess. You're making a hardstyle, maybe. But mix it in a way that is both sounding really metal, but not far away from the sound. So really bright. You want it to still be really bright and kind of industrial sounding. Like your kick is too thumpy, has too much low end. Your snare has way too much mids, and has like no highs. Your cymbals are too loud. Just some general things. But you need a reference to make sure you're doing it right, because I can only get you so far. Your snare sounds better in here, but that's only because of the instruments that are surrounding it. I still think it should be turned down a little bit, but in this context, it sounds more bearable because there's all the other harsh sounds that are in my ear. So it seems fine for the most part. But yeah, that's about all I have for feedback for you. It's really sick. The second drop I really like. Like, this stands out to me a lot. It's really unique too. But yeah. Thank you so much for submitting, Kaizel. Next up we have Inspector. Inspector Gadget. Says, drop 2, just curious if the offbeat polyrhythms work, and if there's any ideas you could have structurally to spice it up a bit. Okay, we've got you. No worries, Kaizel. like so funny. Cool. Okay. Yeah. There's not too much to say about this. It's a very minimal track, so there's just simply not a lot of stuff for me to give feedback on. It's just like the bass, the drums, and that's it. So just really minimal, which is fine, but that means this feedback is going to be very crucial because this feedback is for basically your entire song. It's like the biggest thing. Okay, so first off, your bass is too blown out. And it sounds like it's your sub. It sounds like you have a dedicated sub. I actually don't know. Yeah, it's probably not a dedicated sub. But I get that you want to have this really crunchy tone, but you need to EQ it because adding that many harmonics into your mix just makes it really full, yes, but some harmonics just don't sound good to your ears. So like 100 to 200 hertz generally doesn't sound good. People usually scoop out those frequencies to make it sound more clean and to make the sub more impactful. The other thing is when you have a sub that has those really right harmonics, like the third, the fifth, the seventh, and so on, the multiples, only odd numbers. All of those harmonics play a big role in how impactful the low end is. If you have a sub playing at 50 hertz and your harmonics are 100 hertz, 150 hertz, and 200, if those harmonics are louder than your sub, it's going to make your sub not feel as loud or like deep. And you want your sub to feel deep. You want that frequency, the lowest frequency, to sound the most. So that's why you cut those out. And you can fix it simply just by just adding an EQ or something to the bass and just scooping out those mids. And just other things too, like other frequencies you want to cut out eventually are like the 3.4K hertz. That's like apparently the most annoying frequency for humans to hear. It's called the Fletcher-Munson curve. It's basically that. The Fletcher-Munson curve is the frequency response of the human ear, and it basically shows you like what frequencies humans are most perceptible to, and it shows that the Fletcher-Munson curve shows that range is really sensitive for humans, and that's usually the range for like babies crying. That's like the reason that we probably perceive that one louder, so we're more attentive to children crying or something. But the sub bass in the Fletcher-Munson curve is just exponentially less perceptible. So the lower the frequency is, it's less perceptive. That's why having the low end matters, because you can hear 100 to 200 hertz really, really loud, and I think it's probably because like that's the frequency that your skull resonates at or some shit like that. Frequency makes my head hurt. Yeah, just make the sub more apparent and more clean. Scoop out those low mids, buddy. The kick, I don't like the kick. The kick is too clicky and also too distorted, and that leads me to believe that it is your master causing a lot of this distortion. If your master is the reason why everything sounds so blown out, turn that shit down immediately. I'm kind of assuming that you purposely distorted your basses to sound like this because you want that crunchy tone, but you shouldn't be doing that for the master. It should be separated in your mix. I do like the snare, the rim. Fuck me. Why is every submission I've gotten today been a rim shot? There's no snares. It's been the one tear out guy that had a snare, and that was like it. Actually, that's a lie. Shafra also had like an actual snare. Never had this many rim shots in a row. Sounds good though. The other suggestion I had was to try adding chorus. You should add it so that it doesn't affect the low end. It's just kind of like sitting in the mids, making the mids a bit wider, because it's a minimal track, dude. I mean, you can't really do much to make it stand out. And my last feedback was gonna be about standing out because yes, it's a minimal track. It sounds cool. It kind of makes me bop my head for it being so minimalistic. It makes those bass sounds and drums and hi-hats seem so much more important, and it feels like everything plays a bigger role, and in my mind I can separate everything, which is usually in minimal track it's pretty fun to do. It's cool, but yeah, the thing you're struggling with the most is having it stand out. I kind of noticed that there's not much sticking out in this song at all. You really have just the bass and the rhythm of it making it stand out. That's like the whole motif. If you're gonna have a middle track like this where it's just like the drums and bass and hi-hat and that's it, you need to make those things fucking count. They can't just be playing a rhythm like this. Like these fills, I like these fills a lot, but when it's just playing the regular bass, I check out mentally. Like that's the best we can do with all the room in the world to do any rhythm we can. That's what we do, is we go ba-da-da-da-da-dun, ba-da-da-da-da-dun. Sounds like a phone ringing. What's up, Yeezy2K? What's up, Daniel? You could add some movement here. You could have a bandpass filtering down, or like a bell curve, I mean, filtering down the bass as it plays that. Add some movement, make it more interesting. Come on, fill out that space. Make those basses interesting, stand out, unique, characteristic, add a motif. You could add some synths in the background that play some kind of phrase or something. Yeah, it just sounds kind of empty and boring. But there's so much you can add to this to make it not sound boring and empty, you know what I mean? Everything you added here so far sounds great, but it sounds unfinished and empty. That's all I can really say. I'm grasping at straws, like trying to figure out how I can make this better, but you really just gotta work on it more. That's the best advice, is add more shit. Just build up. It's a good start. Now finish it. That'll be it for that one. Thank you, Inspecta, for submitting. Some knocking drums. Alright, next up we have God's Warrior. It's a name I haven't heard of in a long time. Why did it do that? sound good. I like the vocal chops you did here. This part here, this like verse part, it sounded really weird because it's like at that awkward stage where it's like the intro and you have the drop, but you're trying to like blend those two together. It just feels very weird because you had the super saw still there. It's like a really fat super saw, like one of the fattest of all time, and it's like pushed back in the mix weirdly. Honestly, in this section, I'd probably cut out the super saw. Cut out super saw and probably add some other chord that isn't so fucking crazy fat. And it would probably blend in better. Yeah, honestly, that's probably best feedback. I think that's like a super saw stack. That's probably the same one. Also, this snare jump scared me. I was fucking. I jumped in my seat because it's so loud compared to everything else. Can you have like some kind of lead up into that snare so it's not like a jump scare snare? It works. It works like musically. It just freaked me out. Yeah, it just sounds good. Your drum mixing is like pretty damn solid. Your kick sounds like it's distorting, but it doesn't. It sounds really clean. Sounds great. The bass though. You have like some kind of high end thing, and the bass I think is too just like hissy. It sounds like it's really fucking high up, like 10k hertz. It's too high. It might be your cymbals. I can't tell because your cymbals are probably so drowned. There's no real dynamics for it. The other thing I was gonna say is it's just a bit too loud. That's what I wrote in the note. Turning on the master wouldn't hurt really. I would say turn it down a decibel or two, and it'll be fine. That gives you some dynamics so that your cymbals can have a little space to breathe, and then it feels like there's some air. You know, there's some. The snare isn't just a fucking square. It isn't a brick. It doesn't sound like a brick right now, but it's like it sounds really close to being one. And the melody sounds nice. This section reminded me of like Panda Eyes. Like old Panda Eyes. Like in a good way. Okay. When I said vocals need EQ, I'm talking about this part. There's like a ringing that happens in the mids. Like right there. It sounds like a whistling tone. You should turn that down, make it a bit more clean. Because it is a little harsh. Someone said, hey, I have a question. Any advice on getting... Why is it opening a new tab? What? Fuck. Why? Why did it just open a new tab? Anyways, I'm getting out of a 2-bar drop loop and finishing tunes to start sending for feedback. To get out of a 2-bar drop loop, I know exactly what you're talking about. Um, 2-bar drop loops. I'm assuming you mean that. Actually, I'm gonna finish my feedback on this, and I'll finish your question because I just have a few notes. Uh, well, actually, I don't have any more notes. I just said the second drop is sick. As it is. And the last note I have is that it is a tad generic. I said it sounds like old Panda Eyes. And Yeezy2K said that it sounds like it reminds me of old school Geometry Dash. Um, that's it doesn't sound bad. It sounds good, but that's kind of a hint to kind of modernize it a little bit. Because it's just out of style. A lot of people don't like this kind of music anymore that much. Um, but that's just a general suggestion. I mean, you can do it or not do it. It's up to you. But that's all the feedback I have for you. That's great shit. That great drum mixing. I love the way you mix your drums. Thank you for submitting, God's Warrior. Hope you can submit next time. And for your question, John, the best way to get out of a writing loop like that is to just make another section. So I know what you're talking about. You're in like a 2-bar loop. You made some cool rhythm and everything, but you just don't know how to go outside of that. Just write another section completely separate. It can be an intro or something. It could be anything. It could be like a breakdown of some sort. It's another section that you have. You could be writing a piano chord thing, and then after you wrote that section, then you could splice those together. Or while you're writing that section, it could inspire you to add something to that drop, and then you could be like, okay, well, this is something cool I can do. It could be something like adding another drop too. You could write a second drop and just like mix the contents around. Other things too that kind of help with that second bar drop is utilize basses that have more tonality and are more flexible. Talked about it a bit before, but the reason why tonality in basses is so important is because the tonality allows you to expand your bass a lot more than just it being a cool sound and feeling nice in your ears. Like I said before, adding just sine wave to it, adding some like mid tonality, you can pitch it up and down, you can change the K of it, and naturally, the way a human gets inspired by something, by seeing or hearing things, they can get inspired to add more to it. So once you sound design that bass more or add more layers to it, then naturally you're gonna be like, oh, this is a cool idea, I should try this. And then you'll just be making more of the song just by doing that. So you could just be adding layers, adding stuff to your bass, adding some tonality, anything on top, but that will inspire you greatly to get out of that 2-bar or 4-bar drop. I've done this for a long time and it's helped me a shit ton, and it's like my my crutch when I can't make a drop instantly in like an hour. But do that. It helps a lot and you will see great results. But good question. All right, on to the next one. We got Basty. What is up, Basty? I see you all the time on Twitter now, by the way. You talk so much on Twitter. I think I like almost all of your tweets though, because you have a lot of a similar taste of mixing and just music in general as I do. Holy fuck! Hold on, wait. This is a really short one. Oh, you were asking about metal mixing advice? Is this what you were referring to? Is this?
So we can feel alive. We keep setting up the same old signals. Go single, motherfucker.
Okay. It's a little demo for mixing. This is pretty short.
We're killing time. So we can feel alive.
Yeah, it does sound really messy.
Setting up the same old signals.
It's it reminds me of when Seldweller did like a dubstep mixes, like they mixed up something metal, Seld Weller, but it was like, did they collab with Skrillex? I can't remember if they did or not. I don't know what Seld Weller song has that kind of sound, the dubstep sounds in them, but it's one of them. It's one of the many songs they made. But they did like some dubstep influence. That's what I imagined here. So Phase 1 remix comp. Okay. Okay, mixing metal. All right, here we go. Mixing metal is way different than you think it is. I already commented on like the transients mattering a lot for like the kick and snare. The kick and snare are actually not as loud as you think they would be in a mix. They're actually pretty damn quiet, and you mostly feel them like compared to everything else. Like you don't, if you played the drums in like the mix, usually like you could separate those drums in your mind in like any song and kind of like imagine what they sound like soloed. But for like metal music, it's really not like that at all. It really just feels like I don't know what to even say. It just doesn't play that much of a role. It doesn't stick out that much. So drums are just kind of quieter. They're more transient dependent. And that's kind of speaking to how drums are made in dubstep. Usually drums, when you get them from packs and stuff, they're really compressed and they have quite a bit of saturation on them. So that they're like fat fucking samples you put in your drop already, and you don't even think about them being that fat. They just like, okay, it's a dubstep snare. Yeah, of course. But metal drums are completely different. They look, if you look at the audio file of a metal snare or metal kick, they look completely different. It's like just a curve that goes down really fast. It's like all the transient. The transient is like taking up most of the space in the waveform. So kind of imagine that as like your drum. It's mostly going to be the transient that's going to be popping out. It's not going to be the mids or the lows of the kick that are going to be taking up all that space. It's going to be the transient. So keep that in mind. Also, having just a drum library would be best. It's just insanely hard to beat. It's coming from experience. I've made a lot of metal stuff, and nothing really comes close to having a real metal kit, which I finally did, and it sounds great. Also, cymbals are pretty damn loud in metal, and they play a lot of the role of filling out that space. Letting the cymbals bleed out is usually a good one to do, like having your ride cymbal, your crash, your splash, bunch of different cymbals, have all of them, and kind of write them in a way that a drummer would play the drums. A drummer doesn't have 10 hands. He's not going to have 10 arms hitting every single drum at the same time. So kind of think of it at that way, like what's the easiest way a drummer could play it? How is that even physically possible for a drummer to play it? Yeah, Octopus drummer.
So we can feel
And metal music is super dynamic too.
alive.
He did a pretty good job here.
You got to save
Dynamics. Metal music also doesn't really have a sub bass. This is a little bit of an uncommon thing now with newer techniques of mixing. But bass guitars, when you have like a traditionally recorded metal bass guitar, the bass doesn't really have a sub at all. It's mainly the second or third harmonic that are the loudest. And that's because when you run it through cabinets and distortion, that's just what happens. Nowadays, I think people like layer sub basses in it, like a clean sine wave to kind of build it up, but it's not the dominant frequency in metal music. Metal bass guitars have a lot of just like the low grit, like the first, second, third harmonics are the loudest. they're all about the same volume, and so it's just like it's more like a gritty feeling than like a hard, heavy sub that fills the room with bass. And that one bass that's really fast, it goes like wah, 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 wah. I would high pass that just because I can, because I have that freedom. Realistically, it's just adding too much low end, and it's making the mix really messy in the lows. So that would just be easy to fix. I don't even know if you have any real guitars in this, but if you do, high passing guitars isn't really a thing. People say they high pass guitars, but they just high pass it at like 20 hertz. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? So don't high pass it like you would a dubstep bass. So the kick drum takes the sub frequency with the body. Yeah, the kick drum takes the sub for the most part. The bass guitar kind of just sits on the second and third and fourth harmonics. It's just weird how that works. I don't know. Also, another thing too, overhead mics are really important. And that's just basically saying reverb. Reverb on the drums is super important. Get a convolver and just make it a massive convolver. I'm not talking like a cathedral or anything, but like a big room. Try to get like some convolver on that and just mix it into taste, because drums have a lot more reverb than you think they are. So just add reverb, it'll fill up space a lot. Add it to the cymbals as well, the same convolution that you use. If you have a bass group or a drum group, just add to that. But that's all the feel I really have for that one. So thank you, Bassy. All right, we have Avada next. What's up, Avada?
You're dead already.
You won't escape me that easily.
You're dead already.
You won't escape me that easily.
Sounds good. I like tracks that have just a clap and no kick clap. I just like those kinds of songs more than like the kick clap thing because they're usually mixed better. Um, I only have a few notes for you because, well, it's rhythm for one, and two, it was just good. The bass could use a little bit more highs. It seems like a pretty dull bass, like it doesn't have a lot of energy. You have like some high end like white noise playing over it, but it's not enough. I want to hear the actual bass tone to have a bit more highs. The clap is the only other thing that I had a comment on. The clap is just a bit harsh. You could just use an EQ and just turn down. What was it? What would it be? It would be like 2K hertz or something. Yeah, but just EQ out the more harsh frequencies on that clap, and then you'd be golden. Other than that, the general shit, it's rhythm. I think your bass does a lot of talking, has a nice tone. It's pretty unique for the most part. It just needs more of a identity and characteristics. Like someone said, modal nodes. Yeah, Basie said modal nodes. Modal nodes is really recognizable because they like sample a lot of shit. Like they just add a bunch of fucking Star Wars samples, like Cad Bane, Darth Vader, the Emperor Palpatine. Having some just down to earth samples that people can be like, oh, that's my part of my favorite franchise. Oh, that sample's from the movie I like. That gets people going. Just do stuff like that. Do it more. Even just sound effects. That works too. But thank you for submitting. On to the next one. This one is the last one. We got Yeezy 2K. And he wants feedback on everything. Boy. All right. What's your favorite movie, Agony? Probably The Thing. Or Hereditary. Sounds good. I think the clap grew on me, but the kick, I would change the kick. I don't know how much actually the kick sounds that way because it's being really distorted. I think the kick is also just distorting a lot, and I don't know if that's the reason why I don't like it. Um, it sounds like it's just clipping too much. If you just turn down the clip, the kick, it might sound a lot better, but it needs to be cleaner. And what I mean by cleaner is less distorted and less pushed, which certainly is too loud. The clap sounds better with like all the instruments coming in. Maybe on this part, since it's so minimalistic, you could turn down the decay on it and make it like a shorter clap for just this section, because it has a tail here. So just make it shorter and then open up the decay here so it just lasts longer and kind of has the same feeling as the other drums. I really like the panning on the vocals. And one part that caught my attention is I think the vocals go out of key for a sec. I think it's like the very, very end of the phrase. Yeah. Yeah, it goes out of key, like in that very last bar. It's like very last quarter note, I think. Like pitches out. So just correct those notes and it would sound way better. I don't have much else to comment on. It seems like a pretty simple song. I think it should have more instruments and a variety of instruments because you use a lot of the same arps and basses. The trap part was a nice touch. I like that switch up, and you just wrote it really well. I like the change in the bass here. This part got the same sense. So just change the detune over time, change the decay over time. Just fun stuff. Or just add other layers too. You can add a lead that is just playing over top. But otherwise, really good stuff. I liked it. It's a nice vibe. Thank you for submitting. Hope to see you. But that will be it for this stream. Thank you all for coming. It's been a blast. I'll see you guys next week, 5 p.m. EST. And for those that are on my Patreon paid members, I'll see you Saturday. So yeah, thank you guys. Bye.